Hey everybody, it's your girl Lachey Mayola Wright, and I'm a young rising artist. I go by the name of the Rising Phoenix, the Bridge of Unity. Um, I just want to have like a small testimonial talk or whatever you want to call it with you guys. When I was very young, and I was like real shy. I never really talked, and I still to this day don't do that. I don't do a lot of like talking, a lot of hanging out with people. I'm not that I don't make friends. It's just I don't keep a lot of friends around. That's just the difference. Like, I have a lot of friends, but I'm not very close to everybody. So the difference between me and other people is just I'm not close with others. And I don't really possess that desire. I'm very detached, not clingy, not materialistic. I'm just very to myself kind of person. And even if I have like one good friend, it's still the same way. Like, I'll talk to that person and it'll be like months before I even like may see them or may speak with them. But every time I talk to them, it's like it's like we never stop talking. So I'm those kind of people. But if I know everybody always wants to know a little bit about me and always wants to understand me more or want to go deeper than what I tell them. And I am this, so therefore you won't get to know much about me. I am a Scorpio, so I'm very introverted. I can be very extroverted in person when it comes to like my artistry, my passion, like helping others. I feel like if it's like no purpose of me like talking, and it's like a waste of energy and breath and like time, you won't get a lot out of me. That's very unfortunate, but you won't get a lot out of me in that field, like when it comes to talking. But I'm very big on like how can we make a difference, like intellectual conversation, like ways to expand my mind, like or like we could talk about a good book or something like that. But like I'm not really big on wasting time or conversation, and I'll always been that way. Not that I'm not growing as a person, not that I won't make more friends. It's just that desire of being close to others is not like there. So if I push you off, don't ever get offended, because that's just who I am. And when I was young, I used to get in a lot of trouble growing up, you guys. I used to do a lot of fighting. I used to drink. I used to smoke. I used to party. I was at every party. I was out in the streets late at night. Like, I used to be with my friends. Like, whatever fight that was happening, I was in that fight. Like, I was the one in the fight. I was not the one always watching. I was always the one in the fight. Not to brag. I'm just saying, like, I used to love fighting growing up. And since I was so very quiet, that was like the only way to express myself. That and poetry helped me express myself. Me fighting and relieving my anger, me venting, me dealing with my problems. That's how I cope when I was young. Plus, I used to get in a lot of mess that either didn't involve me or had nothing to do with me, or I was just one of those kind of people who was like ride or die when I was young. That's what we called it back when I was young. That was back in the 90s, the early 2000s, like when I was growing up, like where when you would get in a fight, you wouldn't necessarily get in like big trouble, but you would get in trouble. But as I grew up, I got tickets and arrested and all that stuff. So all the stuff that the young people nowadays was experiencing was slowly becoming our reality in the 2000s, the early 2000s. But now you guys, like, y'all drop a penny, they try to lock y'all up. But I'm just messing. But that's true. Like, I feel like people should make better decisions. I'm not saying I haven't been there, I ain't done that, and I ain't made those same choices. What I'm saying is, if you know the reality and the consequences of your mistakes and your choices and your decisions, there's no real purpose in like pursuing something that will cost you in the long run. And a lot of us didn't have a lot of guidance. A lot of us didn't have a lot of direction. A lot of us don't know how to express ourselves, don't know ourselves. So all the young youth these days are struggling with identity, struggling with who they are, trying to find who they are, but at the same time not really focus on it. So they're struggling with who they are, but not really focus on who they are. So they spend their summer times fighting each other, or they sit in the house on their video games, because that's all parents give them. Instead of teaching your kids all they need to know, or all you never knew, you give them material things, you give them technology, you give them things that won't give them substance, won't give them value, won't help them in this world that we live in today. And they're struggling. I made a decision when I was young to change, and what made me change was like, I didn't want to keep being that same person. Not that a good life is easy. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, when I was doing bad and doing all those things, like, subconsciously, things like consequences didn't affect me. Like, yeah, I got tickets and stuff, but it didn't bother me. Like, none of that stuff bothered me. But like now, like when while I'm trying to do good with my life and make the better decisions, like, stuff really affects you when you're like trying to be on a good path and trying to stay on that right direction. Things really hit you. Your life tests you. Things really happen to you, like, and sometimes bad things happen for greater things to take place. I just want to encourage all the young people, because there's a lot of young people out here struggling, doing the same things I used to do. But it's not just young people. It's like adults way older than me. I am 24, finna be 25. And I'm always working on who I am and becoming a better person so that I can help other people become their greatest versions of themselves just as well as me. Ultimately, who you are now will not always be who you are next year. I mean, 5 years from now, you might be someone different. I just want everybody to know that it's a choice to remain where you are, but it's also a choice to be who you're supposed to be, and to grow as a person, as an individual, and to, give value, give substance to your kids, and, help them in the direction and find their way, because that's why I don't believe in having kids right now while I'm young. Well, nothing wrong with having kids while you're young. I get you don't want to be like an old mama, whatever. That's fine. I get that. I just believe that, until you like fully know who you are, it's no real focus on a kid. Like, you got to raise this kid up and to be who they supposed to be. Like, you should already figure out what you want to do. If you're going to be bringing a child into the world where you got to, train them, teach them things, and then you got to help them walk in their purpose. You got to help them figure out who they are. So it's just knowing who you are, picking that path and walking in it, and believing that you can achieve no matter what. Have confidence in yourself, because life is not easy, especially not a good life. Like, a good life is not easy. Life is simple. Don't get me wrong. Life is simple. God made it pretty simple. But things in life, because that fact is pretty hard. Like, things are hard. And you're going to have to work for the things you want in life, because without hardships, without struggles, without that constant wrestle, without that resistance, there's no growth. There's no being more. There's no going to the next level. So always focus on trying to be who you are and growing to that next phase. Don't remain like you are now. Like, grow every day. Find some way to have gratitude. Don't complain. Find some way to have gratitude, because ultimately your gratitude determines your altitude. So that's a small testimonial, you guys. Have a abundant and peaceful day, and let love be the center of your heart, and let God lead your path.